On the Minecraft Anarchy server, 6b6t, many players will be familiar with a clan named the 555. They have spent the last 3 years growing and making a name for themselves, and just recently, the official 6b6t blog named them the oldest and largest active clan. Today, let's go through a brief history of this clan, tell the story of one of the most major events to happen to them that only wrapped up a few short months ago, and look at what they have planned for the future. Named after their founder, Advic555, the group was founded back in 2022, and after building his own name at spawn, Advic had a vision of a group named after himself called 555 that would grow across the server. To promote inclusivity and help his clan be more popular, Advic decided to advance in all the fields of anarchy rather than specifying, including building, griefing, and insiding, which allowed his clan to do anything they wanted in 6b6t, while specific clan events would be planned ahead in their Discord. One of their first objectives to establish themselves was to build a giant obsidian cube at spawn. Taking advantage of a duplication glitch, Advic and his clan finished the cube in 2023. Despite multiple attempts to grief it, the cube was continuously defended and rebuilt. In 2024, the cube was nearly deleted by a region reset that the structure barely laid outside of, but even today, the cube is still standing. Another major spawn project would be made just a few months later, as they would go on to build a 300 by 300 block obsidian pyramid with walls over 4 blocks thick. Like the cube, the pyramid has lasted to this day due to its size and difficulty to grief. The 555 were purposeful with their projects, as while some projects were mega bases that were millions of blocks out of spawn, the majority of their focus was at spawn itself, as they believed this would help their notoriety and get more eyes on their clan. For advertising, the 555 decided that one of the best ways to force players to see their clan name and Discord was to place the name of the clan directly onto the players' screens. I am, of course, talking about naming withers, which is a common practice across almost every Anarchy server. Not wanting to set their sights low, they decided to spawn and name 555 withers all around the spawn area, each advertising the clan's Discord. They hit their goal of the final wither placed in January of 2025, and the spawn area continues to be an advertisement for them to this day. While the spawn projects brought attention to their clan, Advic remembered his original idea of the numbers 555 being built all over the spawn region of 6b6t, and eventually set a clan goal for it that looked like this. There would be 500 small logos, 50 medium ones, and 5 large ones scattered around the spawn area. Originally, the idea was for advertising, but because there were already so many eyes on their clan, at this point it was just a flex. To gain momentum, Advic wanted to take over a server record, the largest logo at 6b6t's spawn. At the time, the record holder was a clan named the Colonizers, which was originally a 2b2t clan, the oldest Anarchy server in Minecraft, who also used to be the most powerful clan on 6b, but had been less active. Using the Colonizers' inactivity as an opportunity, the 555 took a poll of their own members if anyone would be interested in assisting with the logo, and the answer was a resounding yes. So, on July 14, 2024, the 555 officially began the project, which had the codename of Oogle Yokes. However, once word got out what the 555 were planning, it didn't take long for this project to eventually grow into one of the largest conflicts in the server's history. You see, before the 555 even started planning the logo, they had gained a number of rival clans that wanted nothing more than to take them down. Advic quickly became aware of any clan that had declared war, as he was an extremely active player on both the server itself and the official 6b6t Discord server. In fact, over 20 different clans sought to attack the 555, with some of them even using names like Anti-555, but up until this point, none of them had beaten this giant clan. The reason for this is that the 555 members are all very active players and oftentimes are highly skilled in insiding in other clans with alternate accounts, so they hear about clan formations before those clans truly get started, and even launch devastating counterattacks to shut down their enemies. After weeks of planning, the 555 began construction and started to place obsidian using printer mods to automate the process. With everyone from their clan working, they hoped to quickly finish the project within a few days, but instead quickly ran into trouble. One of the previously mentioned rival clans, named Tesseract, showed up with beacons and Efficiency 5 pickaxes to quickly remove the obsidian of a smaller logo created previously. Reportedly, there were around 40 different accounts that were online actively destroying the logo, and many of the 555 senior members had to mobilize to stop them. The reason Tesseract showed up was because only a short time before, Advic himself had insided their clan, which led to some of their major bases being griefed. Looking for retaliation, Tesseract focused on taking down as many of the 555 spawn logos as they could. The clan organized their defense quickly and began a long back and forth of crystal PvP with their rival, with neither side gaining a major advantage. After hours of PvP, Tesseract's momentum was halted as a third group allied with 555 named Project 104 discovered a lag exploit that caused the area it spawned to become unplayable. Together, the 555 abused this exploit to harass Tesseract into leaving. A day after the event, the 555 logo was completely repaired. However, the next day, Tesseract retaliated, focusing now on the planned larger logo. Instead of destroying it, they decided to block it with netherite blocks, as placing blocks was much faster than mining them. Despite Tesseract having fewer members, the 555 had to put the logo project on hold until they could be dealt with, and with the help of 104, 555 took down Tesseract several times over the course of months and eventually caused so much damage to the rival clan that Tesseract was forced to back off, rename their clan entirely, and focus on other projects. This gave the 555 the momentum to keep placing blocks, but they quickly ran into another problem. The logo itself was going to take over 6 million obsidian and 2 million crying obsidian. The 555 decided to ignore some of the majorly griefed areas for the time being, as massive chunks were full of netherite blocks and withers that would take time to clean up. Instead, they focused on placing the remaining blocks and would do the cleanup later. While this helped for the short term, the 555 were quickly running out of blocks as some of their materials had been lost in the initial grief by Tesseract, and now they were short for their calculated total. But luck was on their side again, as another group came to their rescue, the Imperials. The 555 struck a deal with the Imperials, who had tons of crying obsidian across multiple dupe stashes and were able to get enough materials to quickly finish the project. Almost 9 months after the project started, the logo was completed on April 22nd, 2025. Over 8 million blocks that are now impossible for any player looking at the 6b60 map to ignore. And Tesseract? They took a very public loss and ended up having to rebrand with a new logo and a new name that modern 6b players will know, the Saviors. The 555 now dominate the overhead views of 6b60 spawn and will continue to do so as they keep working towards their 555 total logos. As of the writing of this video, 411 out of 500 of the small logos have already been built around spawn. To this day, the 555 have had over 2,500 kits delivered to unique accounts. They've had 7 individual note block concerts, over 2,000 spawn builds and logos, and they've been written about in the official 6b60 blog twice. Ultimately, this is one of the most notorious clans in the history of 6b60, and most of their members are still active as of this video's upload. But just because they have dominated in the past and are dominating now, that doesn't mean they'll be on top forever. Maybe 6v6t is just waiting for the next clan to show up and take their place. You never know with this server.